I found out because of a printer jam. Not a lipstick stain, not a late night message, not some dramatic hotel receipt falling out of a purse. A printer jam. It was a Tuesday morning, the kind that felt too normal to become the day your marriage quietly dies. I was working from home because my truck was in the shop, and my wife, Jenna, had asked me to print a document she forgot to take to the office. "Just open the laptop," she said over the phone, rushed and breathless. "It's on the desktop. File says quarterly schedule." I remember smiling because she sounded like herself. Busy. A little annoyed. Normal. Then the printer made that grinding sound, swallowed the first page halfway, and froze. I pulled the paper out carefully, but half the page had already printed. At the top was a work schedule. At the bottom, cut off by the jam, was a message preview from her office chat. "Can't believe you still tell him you hate me. That's kind of hot." The sender's name was Marcus. Marcus, the coworker she complained about for almost a year. Marcus, who was arrogant. Marcus, who made her skin crawl. Marcus, who she said was the reason she dreaded Monday mornings. I stood there with that torn paper in my hand, listening to the printer blink like a tiny warning light. My first thought was stupid. Maybe it was a joke. My second thought was worse. Why would a joke make my stomach drop like that? When Jenna came home that night, I watched her differently. Not angrily, not loudly, just differently. She kissed my cheek, dropped her bag by the door, and said, "You would not believe the day I had. Marcus was unbearable again." There it was, the performance. I asked, "What did he do this time?" She rolled her eyes so perfectly I almost admired it. "Existing," she said. "Honestly, I don't know how that man got hired." And I nodded like my chest wasn't caving in. That night, while she showered, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Once, twice, then 5 times. I didn't touch it. Not yet. Some part of me still wanted to be wrong. Some part of me wanted my wife to walk out, wrap her towel around herself, and explain everything before I had to become a detective in my own marriage. But she came out glowing. Not from the shower, from the messages. For the next week, I watched the pattern. She left earlier, came home later, started wearing perfume to work again, laughed at her phone in the kitchen, then turned the screen face down when I walked in. When I asked if everything was okay, she touched my arm and said, "You've been really tense lately." That was Jenna's gift. She could turn a knife around and hand it back like it belonged to you. One night I said, "You talk about Marcus a lot." She paused for half a second too long, then laughed. "Because he annoys me. Don't tell me you're jealous of a man I literally hate." Literally hate. That phrase sat between us like a locked door. Here's where I want you to guess the twist before I tell you. Because I thought the affair was the whole betrayal. I thought the worst thing was that my wife was sleeping with the coworker she claimed to hate. Subscribe if you think you already know where this is going, because I promise you, I didn't. The truth came from her company's own mistake. Jenna worked in sales operations. I worked in IT compliance for a logistics firm, so I knew enough about company systems to understand how careless people get when they think no one is watching. One Friday, she left her work laptop open on the dining table during a video call with her sister. I walked past and saw Marcus's name in an email thread. Not personal, work-related. Subject line, revised client allocation. I wasn't proud of what I did next, but I clicked. The email was from Marcus to Jenna. "Need you to move the Franklin account under my pipeline before month end. After bonus clears, I'll make it up to you properly." Below that, Jenna replied, "Done, but you owe me more than dinner this time." My hands went cold. This wasn't just cheating. They were manipulating accounts, moving sales credit, messing with commission records, maybe stealing bonuses from other employees. I sat down slowly. Suddenly, all those late nights made sense. The secret calls, the emergency reports, The weekends she claimed the team was behind. I didn't confront her. Not that night. Because heartbreak makes you want answers, but betrayal teaches you to collect proof. Over the next few days, I gathered everything I could legally access from what she had left open in our home. Screenshots of messages, dates, emails, a photo of the printed chat preview. Nothing hacked, nothing forced. Just the arrogance of two people who believed I was too trusting to notice. Then came the final piece. A company dinner. Jenna invited me because spouses were allowed, and I think she wanted to hide in plain sight. Marcus was there in a navy suit, smiling like he had already won something. When Jenna introduced us, he shook my hand a little too firmly. "So you're the husband," he said. Not her husband. The husband. I looked at him and said, "And you're Marcus. I've heard a lot about you." Jenna laughed too quickly. "Mostly complaints." Marcus smiled at her. "Yeah," he said, "she's good at pretending." It was small, barely anything, but Jenna's face changed, just for a second. That was the moment I stopped feeling broken and started feeling calm. The following Monday, I sent one email, not to Jenna, not to Marcus, to her company's ethics department. I attached every screenshot, every date, every altered account reference, every message tying their affair to workplace misconduct. I didn't insult them. I didn't mention revenge. I simply wrote, "I believe there may be a conflict of interest, commission manipulation, and undisclosed personal relationship affecting account assignments. I am submitting this in good faith." Then I went to work. By Wednesday, Jenna came home pale. Her keys slipped from her hand and hit the floor. "What did you do?" she whispered. I was sitting at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee I hadn't touched. Funny thing about betrayal. At first, your hands shake because you're afraid of losing someone. Later, they stop shaking because you realize that person was already gone. I said, "I told the truth." Her eyes filled with anger before they filled with tears. "You ruined my career." "No," I said quietly. "You risked your career for a man you told me you hated." She opened her mouth, closed it, then tried the old trick. "You don't understand. It wasn't like that. Marcus pressured me. I was confused. We were having problems." There it was. Our marriage became the crime scene she wanted to blame. I stood up. "We had problems. You had an affair. You helped him cheat people at work. Those are not the same thing." The next day, Marcus was fired. Jenna was fired 2 days later. Not because of me. Because investigations have consequences. Because companies don't like employees moving money around while sleeping together in hotel rooms booked under fake client meetings. She cried when she packed a bag. Not for me, for herself. She said, "After everything we had, you could just throw me away?" I looked at the woman I had loved for 11 years and finally saw how long I had been begging for honesty from someone who only respected evidence. "I didn't throw you away," I said. "I just stopped protecting the lie." The divorce wasn't loud. No screaming in court, no dramatic speech. Just paperwork, divided furniture, and a silence so clean it almost felt like air after a storm. Sometimes people ask if getting them fired made me feel better. The answer is no, not in the way they mean. It didn't erase the nights I lay awake replaying every fake complaint about Marcus. It didn't give me back the version of my marriage I thought I had. It didn't make betrayal painless. But it gave me something else. A line. A place where I finally stopped shrinking to make room for someone else's lies. Jenna used hatred as camouflage. Marcus used arrogance as confidence. And I used the only thing I had left. The truth. Betrayal broke my trust, but it didn't break my identity. And that, more than anything, is why I walked away whole.